Okay, well, we'll go ahead and get started. If anyone shows up, this is kind of just like a free flowing thing. If you guys have it's pretty much just a big Q&A for if you guys have any questions, feel free to ask. Um, so real quick, just kind of going through some things. My name is Eric McClure. I work here at the Kids Hope Alliance. Geraldine, I'm the director of grants management. Geraldine, if you want to introduce yourself, and then we'll go through Jeff's team and they can introduce themselves. Oh, you're muted, Geraldine.
Good morning, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Geraldine Allen. I'm the Assistant Director to Grants Management, and also I'm the Contract Manager for the new United Way 211 helpline database that we're creating in partnership with United Way.
Are we up?
Yes, sir.
All right. Well, good afternoon, everybody. It's great to be with you all. My name is Jeff Winkler, Head of Basic Needs with United Way of Northeast Florida. I'll be speaking briefly and then turning it over to my awesome teammates here. Teresa Vietz, who is our 211 database manager, and Christy Wallace, who wears many hats, including our outreach specialist and resource specialist. So they're going to be doing the bulk of the presentation today. But before I turn it over to them, just want to share a little bit of background and context with you. So we're super excited to be here working with Eric and Geraldine and KHA. This is something that has been in the making for a couple of years. And for those who are unfamiliar, 211 is our region's information and referral helpline. We've been operating the 211 line for a little over 3 decades, and it serves as the easy to reach 3-digit number that anybody can call to help get connected to community health and human service organizations and programs like yours. So we currently serve 9 counties here in Northeast Florida, with obviously the bulk of our calls and individuals coming from Duval County. Roughly about 83% of all of our inquiries are coming from Duval County. Last year, we handled roughly about 93,000 calls and texts, with the majority of those focusing on basic needs. Teresa maintains and Christy and manages our community resource database, which we curate and maintain on a regular basis. We currently have about 1,400 agency profiles and programs that all of our call takers use to refer our callers to. So we're super excited to add many of your organizations to our database or update the ones that are currently in there to ensure that we're providing our callers with accurate information. Other ways that individuals can access your program information through 211, we also post and have our online database available to the public. So anybody can access that database through United Way's website. So not only will your program receive referrals from the callers that contact our team, but for also anybody who searches up your program through our database. And we're working with Eric and Geraldine to ensure that all KHA-funded agencies and programs are going to be clearly identified as such, and we'll actually have a search function on our online database where anybody can search any and all KHA-funded agencies and programs. So super thrilled to enter this partnership with KHA. I really admire the position and understanding that KHA has displayed in terms of making it a requirement for their grantees to be in our database system. We want to ensure that any residents here in Northeast Florida who have needs are connected to those organizations that can meet those needs. And this is KHA is the first funder who said, we see the value in this and we want to make this a requirement of our grantees. And because of that, we're having other conversations with other funders who are looking to follow suit. So this really is, KHA has pioneered this. We're trailblazing this partnership with them, and we're excited to do it with each of you. So Having said all that, looking forward to working with all of you. If I can be of any assistance, don't hesitate to reach out, but I guarantee you'll get much better service and probably faster responses from Teresa and Christy. So I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to them.
Hey, all right. So, yeah, we're gonna share a PowerPoint. Thank you. And Christy, did you want to do the talking? Okay. All right. We're gonna share PowerPoint. Christy's gonna kind of go over a little introduction and process, and then I'm gonna follow up with some action items for each of you. So, Christy, go ahead and let me know when to.
So thank you all for being here today and taking this time out. I think Jeff kind of covered the first, well, a few down the line, but I will definitely go over the important parts. So if you haven't heard about 211, we do cover 9 counties. I believe he spoke about those. It's Duval, St. John's, Clay, Nassau, Putnam, Columbia, Suwannee, Baker, and Hamilton counties. We take calls 24 hours, 7 days a week. I think he kind of covered that. So we'll go on to the next slide.
Sorry, I'm trying to minimize this. There we go. All right.
Okay. Why partner with 211? Number one, it's a requirement for you all at this time. But it does increase your visibility for your agency and bring the community straight to you. So we get these phone calls, especially closer to the summertime when people are panicking frantically about what to do with their students during the summer. They waited to the last minute or it snuck up on them, but it's good to have them in our system so we know exactly where to send people and they can calm it down a little bit, because I've been that parent who's waited to the last minute. Yeah, it does not, it's not a good thing. You can go to the next one.
Mm-hmm.
All right. How did we get here? So you're here today because you should have received an application at some point this week to be added to our database through Kids Hope Alliance. This is your initial vetting into our system. Because of our partnership, your access has been added automatically. We typically go through a very, I guess, entailed vetting system in order to bring agencies into our database, just making sure that they actually cover the community that we serve. So you're in here now. Let's get started.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. So step one is to fill out the application in its entirety. As much information as you can. The most important thing is even if the words don't make sense, because I know sometimes our agencies wear many hats. If it doesn't make sense, we want you to put as much in there as you possibly can, because step two will tell you why. We are definitely going to have another meeting with you individually for us to discuss all the things that your agency does so that we can put it in our way of writing, which we call indexing. So it's going to be very important that you put as much information in there as possible, because it's going to help us in the long run. And then we don't leave things out. Great. You're fine. I'm not looking at your screen. All right. So step 3 is to look out for an agency description link. So what happens after that meeting, we pulled everything together that we've discussed, where you will be looking directly at what's in the database for our INR specialists who take the calls, as well as what's on your particular link within the database that the community sees on the outside. At this time, you can make any additions or subtractions, and we'll be able to update any information that may have changed in between the time of application and the time of release. All right, future updates. The 211 database team would like to only display the most current information about listed agencies. You will receive a request annually to reassess your agency description, service, and contact persons. You may also submit your own change of request. If you are ever unable to locate this information, please contact someone on our database team. So there is a link on our website, and there is the availability for you to send over a request to make changes to your database, so that it's not something you feel is taking a lot of time out your day. It really is a quick, it's set up so well in there, like the contact us form almost. It's very quick. So it doesn't take much time, just a quick update. We want to add this person as the main contact, or we moved, or we changed our phone number. Those are the type of things we need to know.
All right.
All right. And then staying connected. Our relationship does not stop at you being a listed resource in our database. Your agency can take advantage of this partnership by allowing us to table your events, which is calling me, and I will come out to your events, and adding your volunteer needs to our United Way Get Connected page. This is a digital page that allows you to add any events that your agency is having, requests of the community that you might need volunteers or anything of that nature. And I'll put that in the chat. Okay. All right. So we've reached this point. Any questions?
Okay.
Yes,
Well, I went
please.
ahead. Sorry, I went ahead and stopped sharing. Yeah, so a little bit of information we've covered so far. Were there any questions about like details of the process, or, what have you?
A quick question. I'm not sure if this was the question that maybe Eric was gonna ask.
Oh,
Since
sorry.
we know we provide funding to agencies that have multiple sites,
Mhm.
and we just want to make sure that maybe one person send that information for all the sites. We're just trying to figure out what would be the best way for the sites that has multiple sites with different phone numbers, contact people, emails. What would be the best way for them to submit their information?
So that's a great question, Geraldine. And we did notice, and we recognize fully, that a lot of the agencies that KHA funds do have multiple sites, whether it's team up sites or whatnot. We also know that those agencies and organizations have other programs other than KHA funded programs. So based on the contract and our expectations, we want at a minimum to ensure that we're including all KHA funded programs. It doesn't require the full complement of all of your agency programs if they're not KH funded. But one strategy that we would love for you guys to consider or employ is to identify one person within your organization that we can work with. It becomes very cumbersome and challenging if we're dealing with site liaisons or different points of contact at each location. It's very difficult to get information. So if you can identify just one individual within your organization that we can work with, we find that is, it expedites the process and ensures that we're getting accurate information. So thanks, Geraldine. And then as far as the actual information at the agency level, as Teresa and Christy shared, do your best to fill out the forms as complete as possible. But please know that's not the only interaction that we're going to have with you. That's going to allow us to take the most basic of information to start to create a profile in our database. And then we're going to have a conversation to help kind of fill in those gaps, ensure that we have accurate information. It's important to note that we're not just maintaining a very simple database. This database has lots of different taxonomy, a very specific style guide that is required by our accrediting agencies. And we don't let every organization that wants to be in our database in. We have very specific criteria, inclusion, exclusion criteria, and a lot of the organizations who try to get in our database just simply don't meet those criteria. You all do. So we want to make sure that you are on the list of agencies that have been vetted, have been approved, and are being used by our agents to connect callers to. So again, this is not just pulling your information off the internet and putting it in a database. And then as soon as we do that, it gets old and out of date. We're looking to establish and maintain relationships with each of you to ensure that we're continuously updating your profile and making sure that the information we have on your agencies and programs is accurate.
Yeah, so Jeff stole most of my thunder. Basically the next steps, I know I'm recognizing a few names of people who are in attendance. The next step, of course, is to submit your form. We have received, I think, about 6 or 7 so far. So thank you all for being on top of it and so quick. The next step that you can expect from us once your form is submitted is to hear back from one or both of us. We'll most likely set up a meeting, virtual, telephone call, something like that, so that we can kind of work through those details. You can explain a little more about the program that KHA is funding for you. More specifically, the details of what that program provides, eligibility criteria, that sort of stuff. Those are all things that we will need to have in our database profile for you. So once the profile is made, we'll send a link to the public facing website over to you to verify any last minute changes or if it's good to go. And then we're pretty good for about a year. There is some maintenance involved in managing this database where we ask that if anything changes and you're able to get in the front of that, to say, hey, you know, this program has changed, you know, this element is different. We've added this program, that program's gone. Christy touched on the simple things, address, phone number, contact person changes. If you're able to notify us of that in advance, that's helpful. We'll, you know, update that as we go. Otherwise, we do have to check in with you once a year per our accrediting body. And so we will reach out and, you know, make any changes that need to be made at that time. So if there is ever a time too that your organization, you know, I don't envision this ever happening, but if your organization no longer exists for some reason and you're able to let us know that in advance, then we're able to make sure that that's not still showing in our database, both so that our agents aren't still sending people to a place that doesn't exist, and also so that people who access our website for information are not also calling and getting nowhere. The only other thing that I want to touch on is if you haven't submitted your form yet, when you do, I believe there was a specification in the KHA email or notification about what to put in the subject line. And that's just to help Christy and me with controlling our inbox and making sure that things aren't slipping through the cracks. So if you can just reference that, I don't remember the exact wording, but I know it mentioned KHA in the subject line. That would be super helpful to us. And so, yeah, if there's any other
KHA database form.
That's it. Yes. That would be super helpful. And so that's pretty much all we have, unless there's any questions from the individuals in attendance, anyone who ends up watching this recording later. I believe our email addresses are also listed in that KHA email. Feel free to reach out to us directly with any questions you might have. Again, just fill that form out to the best of your ability. You will be hearing from us to clarify things. So yeah, other than that, just thank you all for working with us.
Yeah, so if anyone has any questions or anything, please feel free now to ask them. If everybody's good, then thank you all for being here. We really appreciate it. And once again, like, thank you to United Way. Thank you to all of our partners. We really think that this is a great partnership, just to have more readily access to everyone's information. And then also, you know, just for the providers to gain possibly more kids at your sites and everything. So that's always a great one for us as well. All right.
Eric,
Yep, go ahead.
I just add one more thing, because I think it's always important to understand how these relationships are symbiotic in nature and mutually beneficial. We recognize we're asking a lot of you, and we know that this is very time consuming. But through this process, we know that we're going to be able to accurately get our callers and residents from Northeast Florida to your organizations. We will also be able to provide you with the data that shows how many referrals have been made, how many contacts have been made. So we really hope that you all see this as an extension of your current marketing and communication strategy to help raise awareness for your services. So if you needed a little bit of a leverage or messaging to share with your teams to motivate them into action, please consider that, because this really is meant to be beneficial for both of our groups here.
For sure, that's a great point. All righty. Well, thank you all for being here. We appreciate it. And then we look forward to seeing the information from the forums. All righty. All right. Thank you all. Y'all have a good day.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.
Bye-bye.